she didn't reply. Not to your message, not to your glance across the room, not even to the subtle shift in your posture when you walked by her. You watched as she laughed with someone else, engaged in conversation, seemingly alive and present, yet entirely indifferent to your existence. It was as if you had vanished from her world, erased without explanation. And that silence, more than any rejection, carved deeper than words ever could. Ego is the silent architect of suffering. It does not announce itself with fanfare. It creeps into the spaces between thoughts, shaping our perceptions before we even realize it has taken hold. At its core, ego is the belief that we deserve recognition, that our presence should be acknowledged, that our worth must be affirmed by others. And when that expectation is unmet, when silence replaces acknowledgement, ego transforms from a source of strength into a prison of torment. To the untrained mind, being ignored feels like an attack, an intentional slight, a deliberate wound inflicted by another's indifference. But the Stoic understands that suffering does not reside in the event itself, nor in the absence of one, but rather in the meaning we assign to it. Pain is not in the event, but in the interpretation. The woman who ignores us cannot strip us of our dignity unless we allow her silence to dictate our self-worth. The Stoic does not merely acknowledge reality. He trains himself to meet it with equanimity. He rises with intention. He does not deny the discomfort, nor does he indulge it. He recognizes the impulse to dwell and instead redirects his focus. He moves his body, sharpens his mind, engages in meaningful labor. He does not wait for the storm to pass. He wields his discipline to stand firm within it. True detachment is not apathy, nor is it the suppression of emotion. It is the conscious choice to no longer allow another person's behavior to dictate your inner state. It is the refusal to grant someone else the power to determine your peace. To detach is not to erase the past, nor to deny the depth of feeling that once existed. It is to reclaim agency over your own mind. The only approval that matters is your own. The woman who ignores you cannot diminish what is already whole within you. If you are grounded in purpose, guided by virtue, and committed to the cultivation of character, then no act of omission can unmake you. The sting wasn't just in being ignored, it was in what that silence implied. If she acknowledged you, even with anger or disappointment, at least you would have meaning in her eyes. But this was erasure. A quiet, calculated dismissal that suggested you weren't worth the effort of confrontation. When we tie our self-worth to another person's attention, we surrender control over our own peace. We become prisoners of their gaze, desperate for validation, terrified of oblivion. And when they withhold it, we suffer, not because they are cruel, but because we have made ourselves vulnerable to their whims. Detachment begins with observation. When the woman who ignored you appears in your thoughts, do not flinch away from the memory. Do not bury the discomfort beneath distractions or numbing rituals. Instead, sit with it. Watch how your mind reacts. Notice the instinct to justify, to explain, to rewrite history. This is the trap of ego. When we build our sense of self upon the shifting sands of another's attention, we set ourselves up for inevitable collapse. A single act of indifference can unravel months of perceived stability. A mere glance withheld can trigger days of spiraling doubt. Each time he resists the pull of wounded ego, each time he chooses reason over reaction, he strengthens the fortress of his mind. He learns that true power does not lie in being acknowledged, but in refusing to be undone by the absence of it. The Stoic does not pretend that being ignored has no effect, nor does he suppress his feelings in pursuit of some artificial detachment. Instead, he examines them, dissects them, and asks, "Why does this hurt? What assumption am I holding on to that makes this silence unbearable?" Let this experience be a crucible, not a catastrophe. Let it refine you, not break you. Use it as a lesson in self-reliance, in emotional resilience, in the art of detachment. Let it teach you that peace is not found in the approval of others, but in the unwavering certainty of who you are. There is a quiet strength in walking away from the need for acknowledgement. It is not defeat nor resignation, but mastery. It is the realization that your value does not reside in someone else's gaze, that your significance is not contingent upon another's attention. And in that stillness, in that unshakable resolve, you will find something far greater than the fleeting comfort of acknowledgement. You will find freedom.